On this video, I'm going to look through the responses that I've gotten to the survey I created for the brief of Monotype, in which I gave people 3 different versions of the same Instagram feed. I'm just going to check them at the same time that I'm filming, so everything is going to be very real and unscripted. So first of all, I'm going to share some clips of how I put together the survey. I use Survey Hero to create it because it's really easy to use and it's free. And then what I did was to actually collect all the images and the mock-ups. And then I shared the survey on different platforms and also to friends and other colleagues. The project I'm working on is for Monotype, so it's a brief by d&ad. And the project asks to celebrate a community through type. And I just want to see how people from different backgrounds have reacted to the same set of images or set of Instagram feeds. So as of today, I have 14 responses to the survey. So I can go here, survey results, and check what the responses have been. So I've gotten a total of 14 responses. I thought the survey would take between 5 and 7 minutes to complete, and apparently the average completion time has been 13 minutes 20, so a bit higher than I expected. So 24 people have seen the survey, 11 have completed it, 3 haven't finished. Okay, so maybe I only have 11. So I can have a look at the individual responses or the summarized report. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the summarized report to see an overview. Okay, so I've gotten almost half and half male versus female, which is great. The age range is quite diverse as well. And then job titles: sales consultant, graphic designer, jewelry designer, graphic designer, not known. Okay, so there are a few graphic designers, and that's because I've shared the survey on our graphic design forum as well. The way I have organized the survey is that it has 3 pages. So on each page, there is the same information, just different images. So I have shown 3 different versions of the Instagram feed. And the way I've shown it is by showing first 3 individual Instagram posts and then ask a question. So the question is, in a few words, what are the first impressions you had from the Instagram posts above? This is to get an overview of how people have reacted to that initial contact with the content. And after that, I have shown them the whole feed, so the 9 images or the grid, the Instagram grid as a whole, to see if the impressions have changed. So in general, this first version could be more colorful or friendlier. I'm not sure I understand it. Do they all relate to the same person? So this is why creating this kind of survey is very important, because I have been working on it for so long that for me it's very clear that these posts talk about 3 different people, because I know them, I know their names, I know their faces, I guess. But I understand that for people, for what I see, they don't get that this is 3 different people, I guess. Yeah, so this first version doesn't have as many colors as the other 2. I just wanted to do a version that was very typographic, so similar to Monotype's current Instagram. I see that it's not very Instagram friendly, too simplistic and not standing out enough. Instagram is very known for the filters, which I haven't really used on this first version. The image of the lady is the only image I want back on to see. The other two with words I didn't spend much time looking at and just scroll past, probably because of the simple colors. The feeling I get is quite serious. So then, after showing the full grid, I have asked, describe with a few words the feed or the grid above and what are your first impressions. And I think in general people still think it's not colorful enough, and people understand it's about different typefaces, typography heavy, which is the whole point. And then I have asked if your response to the first question was on this page was mostly negative, has it changed after looking at the full grid? 6 people said yes, 5 said no. And then I asked why, in case they said that yes, it changed. And people say that it's easier to understand, still very typography based. Okay, so the color comment is very, very common here. But in general, yeah, they look more together and balanced as a grid. So I have done the same for the other two versions. So I'm just gonna read through them quickly and then I'll summarize the comments for the following two versions. Okay, so after looking at the responses of the other two versions, I have realized that because the first example was the one with the less images and more typography, people have used that to compare the other two versions, which is fine because it's very hard to just look at it in isolation. But many of the comments are comparing the first grid with the second or the first grid with the third. So the second version has been very well received. So the comments were that the images work very well, that they fit more within the Instagram style, I guess, that they are more happy, colorful, friendly, interesting. And then the grid has gotten very positive responses. So people say it looks great, it's creative and current, it's interesting, intriguing. Some people don't really understand the composition of the grid, and I knew this would happen because when I was testing different ideas, I was trying to organize the content because I wanted to do 3 posts for each woman. The way to organize it is either by columns or by rows. I figure because the way you post on Instagram is you post a picture and it kind of moves everything to the right and down. It made more sense to have rows for the same woman, so when they are published, they are next to each other. So some people think it looks cluttered, which is true after seeing the previous version, and less balanced. In this question, only one person said that they changed their response after looking at the full grid. And then for the final version, I have done this puzzle theme, which I knew was a bit risky, and to be honest, it doesn't really fit Monotype's current Instagram style, but I just wanted to try something different and see how people react to it. And in general, people didn't really understand that much what was going on the posts as individual or as isolated elements, but still they thought there was something interesting about them. Some people thought it was a bit messy or uncomfortable to look at because the images were cut in different places. But in general, people thought the colorful style is more playful. After seeing the grid, most of the people's responses sound surprised. So some people say it's brilliant, it's strong and eye-catching, it's clever. Some people think it's still very cluttered or the images blend too much together. But in general, the response is quite positive after people have seen the final grid. And here, a majority of people have answered yes to the question if your response to the first question on this page was mostly negative, has it changed after looking at the full grid? And I believe this is because the isolated posts were a bit confusing, even though they are more eye-catching or more attractive. Some people haven't really understood what was going on. So when they see the full grid, they are like, oh, okay, now this makes sense. So after looking at all these examples, I have asked people if they could summarize what the intention of the Instagram feed was about, because I obviously know why I'm creating these images and what the posts are trying to promote. I think only 3 people have actually understood what it's about. So one person said to promote creative women, which is fine. Advertising designers, well, women designers, but yes. One person said promotion of Oxford-based meetup networking for design and design-related people, which is exactly what I'm doing here. Showing women in power. Some people only looked at the designs. To show quotes, and type related to enforce the brand. So this person probably knows what Monotype is and what they do. Although I don't think I have mentioned Monotype at this point, so maybe it's clear that I'm using type to celebrate these people. Then I have done a more general question, so putting all the grids side by side, I have asked people if they landed on each of these feeds separately, which one they think will catch their attention or make them more interested to click and check the posts individually. And most of the people have answered the third version, which is the puzzle theme. And I guess again is because the reaction to it when they saw the grid was more interesting than seeing just the posts. Then I have shown them the current Monotype's Instagram feed, because at the end of the day, this idea has to fit the branding that they have already. The results are quite similar, so it's 4, 3, and 4. So the first version, I think, is because it looks more minimal and more typographic based. The second version hasn't been as popular, although I think it's the one, from my opinion, that works better as a middle point between 1 and 3. And then the final one has gotten a 4 as well. I think people who have chosen the version 3 have done it because of the color, probably, because to be honest, Monotype doesn't use the puzzle theme at all. They don't use anything like that. So yeah, the responses have been in general very good. It has helped me understand how people understand different images and different images when they are in a context. I have had a few ideas of things that I want to change. And to be honest, I think I'm gonna work on design too. Actually, I know it has been positive. The response to it has been positive overall. And although it hasn't been the one that people has chosen the most on the last question regarding Monotype, I believe that I can work on it to make it look more within the brand guidelines. Maybe make the typography stand out more, so it's actually more about the typography rather than the images. And I think that's it. I'm very happy with the results, and I'll do the revisions now and see what comes out of this. Bye.